Howdy, folks, and welcome to Makers Mashup. This show is about Makers Media Network, and we'll get into what that is here shortly, but I'd like to start by mentioning my website is woodenvisions.com, but aside from that, I'd like to thank Harnell Media as one of my sponsors. Harnell Media is a professional website design and hosting company which specializes in the maker community. If you need a site, logo, intro, custom music, or web hosting services for a reasonable hobbyist price tag, come see Steve and his team at harnellmedia.com. But we're going to get right into it. Okay, a lot of you may be asking, what is Makers Media Network? And a hobby is kind of the point man when it comes to Javier Unzueta is the point man when it comes to describing it in better detail, but to put it on a bumper sticker, he'll correct me if I'm wrong. We're all about helping each other. We're a network. It's a co-op. It's not so much about self-promotion. It's about being there for each other, their community, and networking. And that's why we thought that might be the perfect name for it. But since I called Hobby to be the point man, I will go to him last since we don't have a specific special guest. We have the whole panel. So I'm going to go from my left to right, let everybody introduce themselves and where they can be found. And we're going to start with Mr. Chad.
Hello, everybody. I'm Chad from Mancrafting, and you can find all my pertinent stuff directly on my website, mancraftingtm.com.
All right, thank you very much, Chad, for being here. Mr. Eloy Escajedo.
Hello, everybody. My name is Eloy, and I live in Miami. You can find me on YouTube. My name is too convoluted. You can look at the icons here. But you could type in Skull Chair, easy as pie, and I'll be the first one on all of YouTube.
My God, and to be the first one on all of YouTube, you got it going on, baby.
All of YouTube.
All of YouTube. Now we're going to move on over to Mark Lindsay. Oh my God, my other monitor has gone to crap, so I can't see anything. But go ahead, Mark Lindsay.
Yeah, I usually get a reaction like that.
Well,
Mark Lindsay. Oh my God, my monitor crashed. Yep.
Well, sorry.
Evening, y'all. My name is Mark Lindsay, and I can be found here on YouTube and on Facebook, Instagram under this name, Mark Lindsay CNC. And thank you very much for having me, Charles.
Thank you as well. And Mark will be the one monitoring the chat for questions and comments if anybody has any at any point. And luckily, that's good because I have a completely white screen. I have no idea why, but I think Miter Mike is, yes, he is there. Miter Mike, introduce yourself, please, sir.
Yes, my name is Michael Murray with Miter Mike's Woodshop. I can be found on all social medias. If you go to my website, mitermikeswoodshop.com, and it's all listed there.
All righty then.
And I guess I got to make a skull chair next.
You got competition, Eloy.
Don't step on my toes, man. That's all I got.
And you don't take that from me, okay? All right, next week, thank you, Miter Mike. We have David Jones, Portal Woodworks. I think we have him. We had him. I wasn't lying.
He hit the wrong button.
Been there.
So we can. I don't want to get into in depth of a conversation unless he's gone for more than like 30 more seconds. Okay, he's back. So
he's back.
So we're gonna pretend David didn't hit the wrong button, and let him introduce himself if he is indeed there. David Jones of Portal Woodworks. Are you there, sir? Going once. Okay,
and
I can hear you. Button. Yeah. Oh, you didn't hit the wrong button. We can hear you, but
my internet's messing up.
Oh, I'm very sorry to hear that. Okay, would you like to introduce yourself to the folks out there?
I'm David Jones, Portal Woodworks. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter.
Thank you very much, sir. And some of y'all will recognize some of these guys as former guests and some as potentially future guests. if they stay on my good side. But I'm going to jump over to Javier Unzueta because he's sort of the point man, the spokesman. He knows he knows more than I do when it comes to every aspect of the Makers Media Network, and I'm still learning the ins and outs of it. So I wanted to go to him to accurately explain what it is and let people know.
Well, for those of you, well, first of all, my name is
introduce yourself.
Javier Unzueta with Javi's Wood Shop. You can find me on YouTube, Facebook, and on that rare occasion that I once a year that I may Instagram or Twitter, there too. Well, simply put, we got together a few makers, and little by little, it just sort of formed into a group of like-minded makers helping each other. So we decided, and by the way, I won't go on without mentioning Steve Nealon, who's the website core, the arm of the group, if you will, and we'll more on him in shortly. But basically, this Maker Media Network, it's a group of like-minded makers and craftsmen committed to the concept of sharing ideas, knowledge, and resources. We endeavor to promote the group as a whole, as well as each other's channels and accomplishments in a very positive light, whether for knowledge, resources, sponsorship, or general advertising. As a group, the reach, the influence, and the benefits are far more than the sum of the individual players, if you will. And as such, our individual sites, our businesses, or our social media channels even will in turn grow. And that's the basic tenet, the mission statement, if you will, of the group.
You know, and what's neat about it is none of us are told in any way to support each other, but we do by default, and that is what's making this network work so well, because we do support each other.
Absolutely. At the moment, there are just a few less than 20 of us, and we currently have in our YouTube channels collectively over 75,000 people as a subscriber base. So that's a lot more than a user with 1 or 2 or 400 or even 12,000. It's a valuable asset in spreading the word, promoting each other, getting sponsorships. There's a lot of value to the network, to the group. We invite anyone who's a maker to come on in, check out the Makers Media Network, and let's see. Well, there's a point I didn't think about. How to get a hold of us. Well, go to makersmedianetwork.com, and I'm sure by the end of this broadcast, if Steve doesn't have one on there, he'll have one by the end, a contact form.
Yes, and Steve is in the chat for those that may want to ask him questions directly.
Yes, please. If you have any questions at all, I mean, Steve can directly answer them in the chat. I'll be happy to field them, whatever Mark sends my way. That's it as far as the group is concerned. And right, Charles, back to you.
Well, for the record, we have lost David Jones to Wi-Fi, so he's on the outside chat now. Probably cussing and spitting, but not in the chat. But well, a couple things I'd like to mention. I mean, this isn't okay. I'll just say it. We have some challenges coming up, and they are Maker Media Network members. So I figured, why not? Let's get them out there and promote those, and then we can discuss each other's ventures and such. Now, David Jones, the one that accidentally left us, is having a bandsaw box challenge for the month of December. But I should have done that in chronological order, but I have it written down backwards. So our own hobby here is having the almost impossible 30-day challenge for the month of November. And since you're here and I'm talking about you, go ahead and tell people specifically the almost impossible 30-day challenge.
Well, basically, I labeled it. All my challenge are almost challenges. The the challenge in I will be having again in April of next year the Almost Useless Challenge, like last year. In February, for you CNCers, I will have the Almost a Woodworker Challenge, because, you know, we CNCers are not really woodworkers. We're almost woodworkers. And right now, going on November, is the Almost Impossible Challenge. Impossible because very, very few people have actually succeeded. And the rules are simple. 30 days, the month of November, do one project or a part of a project a day. You don't have to video it every day. You can video your progress throughout the week, and once a week put a video out, or Facebook posts, photos are fine, just as long as you get it out there on social media. And that's pretty much the challenge. At the end, there may be dozens of people that do not have 30 days worth. So you'd be surprised how few entries are in some of these challenges. So you never know. You might have 5 entries and win.
Yeah, if you're retired, I'm telling you, if you're retired, you got a leg up on a lot of other people. Now that we got David, if we can keep him, and that's not a dig on David, I just know how Wi-Fi goes. David, if you can tell people about the bandsaw box challenge for December. I think he froze up. Maybe he's with us. Right. So, I'm sorry, David. I gotta move on.
And
now,
I believe there's also another challenge in December. If I'm not mistaken, Dave Gatton might have a Christmas challenge going on. I don't want to speak for him. He might be in the chat, so that might be happening as well. But for these and future announcements of challenges, feel free to go to craftsmansconnection.com. It's a website strictly for informational purposes for makers. Whether it's a list of YouTube channels, feel free to submit your own, or challenges, feel free to submit your own. Events, same, or shows, podcasts, it's all there. craftsmansconnection.com.
I was going to reiterate what you just said as far as the name. Mike just mentioned Carl Jacobson's having a challenge. We'll let Carl talk about that since we don't have enough information to go there. No offense, Carl. Now, I would like to shout out Eloy, because until I got to talking to him, and because of this networking, I did not know that he does little video intros. He has a very artistic view of how to produce things, and it shows in his work, and it shows in his passion, and his passion shows in what he does. So we got video intros, we have music, and I believe, if I'm correct, that music is your passion, correct, Eloy? I mean,
well, I appreciate that, dude. Thank you for the shout. Yeah, well, my passion is making in general, and music falls in there, video editing, and all that stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, if you wouldn't mind elaborating on that, way it eliminates the possibility of more questions that aren't answered yet about what you offer. Maybe as much as you can cover.
Okay, so basically, as a preamble to it, just growing up watching the things that one watches, they influence people. Popular culture, growing up in the 80s, early 90s, and watching all these movies and the things that we all know and love, they influenced me. And when I create things, there's little bleed over of all that, and that includes music. And so I'm very attuned to cultural things. They influence me, movies, music, the rock and roll, all that. So anyways, I play guitar, I play piano, a bit of drums, I sing, I compose songs, and what I've been doing is I've been creating music packs for people that need music that's hassle-free, where they're not going to be flagged on YouTube. And I'm working on more. I have one music pack, so that's on my website as well. I have a a few websites going on. I do video editing, you know, for myself, but I also do intros, which a lot of people need an intro for their videos, and I do those. I built them. That's a new website, right, where we'll have the music, the video, so people can drop down a list and check all that stuff out and pick out what they want. Intros, you send your logo and we insert them into the ones that you choose. So there's all these options. What else? Boy, that's it as far as, you know, website and things that I'm offering. So
Eloy does have two different websites. There's Rock and Woodworking, and I can't make out what the other one's called.
Rock and Video Designs.
Rock and Video Designs. Thank you very much for that. Oh, he also has a show on what is it, Tuesday nights or Wednesdays?
Yes, let me mention that. Because of all these things that I mentioned, you know, just growing up influences, I also like the absurd, you know, and the slightly off skew. So I have a show where what we do is we interview makers, and by default, I feel personally that makers are missing a few bolts, and I mentioned this at the beginning of my videos. And we've had people, like some people that no one has heard of, or many people have heard of, and other people that are pretty well known, like Chad Mancrafting. We just had him, asked him a bunch of questions, and we try to go a little bit personal and in depth to see what makes them tick. But the guests always steer, you know, where things go. Very cool interview if you want to get to know Chad. We've had Matt Haas from Awesome Wood Things. We've had Adam McMillan, which is a great talent. Not a lot of people have heard of him. He's freaking amazing. And Bobby Duke from Bobby Duke's Arts, that carves and creates sculptures. So I have that show on Tuesdays, which is pretty benign. You know, it doesn't rub up against any other shows that I'm aware of. And so if you're bored on a Tuesday, or if you want to learn a little bit about a creative mind and get inspired, 8 o'clock on my channel.
Thank you, Eloy. I've watched every episode he's done, and I have to say, I had heard of Chad before your show, but it was just neat. He had a way of, I'm acting like he's not sitting right here. Chad, you had a way of explaining things. You took people almost through your life story, but it didn't bore them. They didn't linger off. And that says a lot about you. And a lot of people, or some people think of you as that guy who powder coats mugs, but you do so much more. Your passion, I believe, is welding, is it not?
I actually enjoy that probably more than anything. Absolutely.
Yeah. And he has Team Scroll Saw for those that keep up with the Team Scroll Saw, Team Router. I was proud to hear that the other day. But
Charles,
yes,
if I may, speaking of Team Scroll Saw, there's a couple things I wanted to mention. Number one, that I neglected to mention earlier, this networking group of ours, there's no fee, there's no upfront fee. It's just come in if you're interested, you know. So it's not like this paid thing that we're doing. For instance, if you're someone like a scroll sawer of renown, like in all deference to you, Charles, like Mr. Sterling Davis there, and he wants to announce, for instance, his Clean Spore event on October 27th and 28th, his meetup, and he wants the whole group to promote this all over the place. We're more than happy to have him as a member, so come on in. I just like to get that little plug out there for Sterling.
Yeah, Sterling is a great guy. Most people in the community know him. If not, it doesn't mean you're a nobody. It's just not everybody knows Sterling. But Sterling is a great guy. Storage Woodcrafts, I believe, is the name of his website. Don't quote me on that because I've slept since then. We're going to try again with David Jones of Portal Woodworks. Are you working, David?
I'm always working.
I hear you, baby. I don't know why I called you baby publicly. But anyway, do you want to tell people about your December bandsaw box challenge?
Well, I mean, that pretty much sums it up, you know. From
Okay.
December 1st, through the end of the year, You know, get whatever wood, whatever you want, and get to your bandsaw and let's see what you have. And I'm trying to wrangle up some pretty good prizes, for this challenge.
Okay. Do you where would they submit them to you, or do they just post it on YouTube? And I mean, how do you have that set up? Do you want them to send the videos to you to put into a playlist? Or
Yeah,
I know some challenges do it that way.
Yeah, I'm gonna put out a small video, on my YouTube channel and all the other social media here in the middle of November about everything.
All right. So that is David Jones of Portable Woodworks doing a bandsaw box challenge in the month of December. Again, Javi is doing the Almost Impossible 30-day challenge in November. He also runs the Craftsman Connection. I say he runs it. He started it, but it's for everybody to list their events, their challenges, contests, whatever they think. And David Jones also has a Facebook group called Makers Universe. And again, back to the Makers Media Network. I mean, the reason why the show is titled that, and you keep seeing me having to look down because I have to make a note of it because it's hard for me to remember. It rolls off the tongue so easily. It's easy to say incorrectly, and that's how I roll. But do we have any comments or questions suitable for the show?
Oh, we have lots of comments, but no questions so far. I'm here to take your questions, y'all. So if you have any questions at all for anybody on the panel that's pertinent to the discussion, shoot them at me over here in the YouTube chat, and I will get them to you just as quick as I can.
Absolutely.
And unless I'm mistaken, that they were asking about where the meetup is. I mean, that information is on craftsmansconnection.com. There's a link there. But Hickory, North Carolina, is that correct? Chad, do you know where the meetup is?
Yeah, that's for Klingspor, as I believe it's Hickory.
Awesome, and again, that's by Sterling Davis announcing that. Great guy. So now, again, for anybody on the panel that you would have questions for, Chad is into welding. He's into turning, or at least was till Jamie got a hold of his lathe. He's a monster with that powder coating and laser work. So there's plenty of questions you could ask him if you so choose. Eloy has a multitude of talents that he can share with anybody. Now, regarding Harneal Media, we spoke of earlier as far as the websites. He specializes in makers websites, but you're not limited to that. It's just what he specializes in. I want to make that clear because I wanted to, clear up any confusion there. Miter Mike, I've been following him so closely when he started his scroll saw. I know I say it every show, but it just blows me away. But I almost forgot what he was known for before he started scrolling. Mike, can you want to elaborate a little bit? Because I don't remember what you did the conference. Well, when you did my show, you did the conference ceiling. So so you
Yes.
have a knowledge of construction.
Yeah, I did other things. I just been getting crazy with the scroll saw because for some reason it's the one thing I could do in the middle of the night and not wake up the whole house.
Thank God for that.
Other than that, I've done other woodworking stuff, and I'm going to get back to that a little bit more, but I got the big lathe going, so I'll be doing some bowls soon.
Alrighty then. I need to get back on the scroll saw. The show's not about me, it's about all of us, but I have not done a project video since the Skull Challenge that Shogun Jimmy did. And, wow. Okay. We still have 32 more minutes in the show. So
Charles, I'd like to mention.
Yes.
Oh, okay, go ahead. Sorry.
I'd like to mention a couple of the members in absentia of the group. A few of them. Just give them a little shout out, like
All
Jamie
right.
Page, who at this time of night is he's zonked about this time of night, so it's rare when he comes out. But you could always see him at JP Woodworks. Likewise, Ox in the Shop. Drew is just fantastic. All the work he does. He's got this cornhole board video that is just fantastic. Doc, Hildebrandt, Jared is, let's see, JRH Hildebrandt and company is, so check out his stuff as well. Also, Patrick from Patrick's workshop. I mean, the stuff he does is just so incredibly creative and innovative. From a compass hammer to a funnel using an orange cone, creating your own vortex thingy, and
chisel storage.
Don't tell me about that secret project, Javi.
Yeah.
Now that is the thing. That is the thing about, and I'll let you talk, Eloy, because I know you had something you wanted to say. But that is the thing about Patrick. I don't think a lot of people know that guy is so bloody creative, and that's why he doesn't just spit out videos, because he puts a lot of work into what he's going to do, how he's going to do it, and then he films it. So he's not known for daily videos or weekly videos, but that man has a creative mind that is above a lot of people I've seen. I can't say enough about the work he does. But again, as Javi was saying, we are here to promote each other, because it can't do anything but help unless everybody's an idiot, and they're not. So I shouldn't have even said that. But I feel safe in assuming that the audience likes everybody here, because they're sharing, they're giving, they're not stingy. And I believe it was on Eloy's show that Chad was saying that the powder coating community, and this is not to slam them, he says the making community is a lot more giving and sharing than the powder coating community. So that's just an example. I don't know what else to say about that. It's just, I think what we got going on here, it's not a clique. I want everybody to know that it's not a clique. It's a co-op. It's for everyone to get involved and do your part, share this and that. And Eloy, you wanted to say something. I didn't want to make light of that. Go ahead, sir.
Well, I wanted to say a few things, but the idea of the group, the co-op, is, like was mentioned, to help each other. A lot of people, before I started, hanging with you guys, before being in the I like to make stuff group, and the whole Facebook thing, I sort of had my own ideas of not wanting to bother. Naturally, I feel like not wanting to bother others and not wanting to be bothered. That's my natural go-to instinct. But still, I was making videos and stuff. And I got reached out to by Shogun Jimmy. And he said, hey, dude, let's do a collab. And I said, well, the dude was nice. And I said, okay, let's do a collab and stuff. And I thought to myself, well, yeah, communicating and talking with people. I'm a loner to begin with anyhow. But it opened up my mind to a new point of view. And that's kind of what these cats are doing tonight, opening a new point of view, possibly for some of you out there. So by joining that group, getting together, you have a little bit more leverage and push, and that's the idea. One of the ideas behind it. Very helpful to me has been the website help with Harneal Media, because, I didn't have a proper website. I have a place where I can sell my items. I write up articles, and it's very helpful stuff. And I think all of the cats here have websites with Harneal. I don't know if that's a fact or not, but yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to say.
Yeah, and I didn't say enough about how much. Well, I've said it in the past, but Steve busts his tail. But I'm not going to ramble on about it. But my website is probably one of his biggest ventures, because I have I think I'm creeping up on 1,400 or 1,500 patterns now, and he got me that far. And Javi helped with the vectorizing portion of getting the proofs out there. So the ease of use of that website, you have Harneal Media and Steve to thank, and I once again want to publicly thank him. But again, for everybody on the panel, if you want to know something about powder coating, the mugs, the lasers, welding, or opinions, you can ask Chad. opinions of anybody. Eloy's got the music, he's got the intro, he's got ideas, creative ideas, even if you're just looking for those. Javi's got Vector. I knew it right till I went to say it, Javi. What is the
VectorDesignService.com.
Vector Design Services. Mark is a CNC freak. Mike is just a freak. I'm just kidding. Love you, buddy. I want to call David Jones the jack of all trades because I haven't, other than the show I did where he was the guest, I didn't really get too much into his passions besides because he does work a lot, and almost every time we're talking to him, he's working or taking a short break from working. But again, there's so many angles of questions that can be asked to anybody on this panel. And I'm not trying to shove that down your throat, but no question is a stupid question unless you're asking my ex-wife to marry you. No, trust me on this. I hope to God she never sees this. Okay, so yeah, God Almighty.
Okay, I got a couple if you're ready for them.
I'm ready for them. Whoever they're to, say their name first, and I'll put the camera on them, please.
Okay, for Charles, number one, Dave Gatton wants to know, why did you change your background?
Halloween, baby.
I knew it was something like that.
Yeah, on the 20th. I have another one ready for, and that's why I changed my background. Heck, I was hoping it would be something I could take longer to answer.
Well,
I love skulls.
A little quick shout out here, and then there is a question that will take a while. Sterling Davis, we were talking about earlier a little bit about Sterling Davis's get together there in Hickory, North Carolina during the Clean Sports show. It will be 6 p.m. until everybody gets tired or falls over, one of the two. At the Iron Thunder Saloon in Hickory, North Carolina, right beside the Hickory Convention Center. And I'm guessing he's going to do that both nights, 6 p.m. at the Iron Thunder Saloon at Hickory, North Carolina, right beside the Hickory Convention Center where this Clean Sports show is. And that is, if I'm not mistaken, next weekend.
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to say when's the date on that. So I will mention that at the end of the show when I do another wrap-up.
Okay, here is a big question for each person on the panel.
Okay, I'll go left to right. I'll start with Chad.
From Steve Twidell at Temple Boy Turnings, he wants to know, what personally would each of you like to see happen for the community in the future, and what ideas do you have to help it grow and move forward?
Chad, by default, you're first alphabetically, so I'm so sorry you have to answer that first, sir. But if you want to repeat the question. Okay.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Go, boy.
So the one thing that I like seeing happening in the community that I do see happening, but I'd like to see more of it, is makers that have different talents collaborating and using those talents to enhance whatever project they are working on or whatever video they want to put out. I want to see more collaboration. I think collaboration gets two people who may not have the same audience kind of cross-pollination. So one that stands out to me was Carl Jacobson and
you knew it until right when you went to say it, right?
I know. I could see his face, but Peter Brown. So when they did that collaboration, I don't know how much it benefited Peter. I didn't happen to notice the numbers, but I noticed for Carl, it really jumped his numbers substantially. And so, if you have some sort of talent that you can utilize in a project with another maker, I think that cross-pollination can be quite beneficial.
Yeah, and I think that was a beautiful example, and I'm glad you were the first to answer, because that's a perfect example of audiences that may never, ever cross paths.
Yep.
Crossing paths. I mean, like that would be like you and I working together, because almost all I do is scroll sawing. I don't know what we could collab on, but you've been put on the spot publicly, so you have to
maybe a big sign.
Call me. Yeah, a big sign. Oh, I've already done a big sign. It's over his shoulder. Team Scroll Saw. For real. Absolutely. Okay. And was that the extent of the question, Mark? What you said? What they was that the extent of the question? What they'd like to see in the future, or what they like about it currently, or both?
The question is, what would each of you like to see happen for the community in the future, and what ideas do you have to help it grow and move forward?
Okay. What ideas do you have? I think Chad sort of answered that with his. I think he answered all of those with his answer.
There's other answers to that question. Certainly, somebody else has thoughts on it.
Okay, I'm going to move on over to Mr. Eloy Escajero.
Okay, so my answer would be a little bit different, although I agree completely with Chad's, but just we can't all say the same thing, right? We could, but it'd be insane, right?
We are
it'd be a little bit off.
We're all a little off.
Well, we are, right? That's my theme.
More collaboration.
I'm also very nostalgic, so I would think that I would like to see in the future, looking back, sort of like what you'd see with musicians and documentaries and after the fact, after the 60s, and you say, oh, I knew this cat and this guy worked with this guy, and they look back and all these connections and stories grew out of those happenings at a certain period of time looking back. And I see the maker community looking into the future, and those people, hopefully all of us there, looking back and remembering, oh, that's when Javi and I went over to his house and the CNC and the coffee spilled, and then Chad and all these connections, and being able to look back at it in that light, and the stories, and seeing people, jump up notches and are well known and renowned for whatever it is that they invented from here to there. I think that would be a place that I'd like to see. And what we could do to do it, I think that we're doing it just by living and interacting and seeing how far we can go, or how far we can take things. I think that we're doing it as we speak. So that's what I think.
That was another beautiful answer, and that goes to the collaboration and I talked about. I literally did not know until 2 or 3 days ago that Eloy did music. I knew he did music, but I didn't know he even knew anything about doing intros and had that artistic vision. So I plan on working with him, and if I could ever get another project video out, you'll see some of his work I've already dealt with, and I plan on going to him for music. He has a great library to choose from.
Thanks.
You're welcome, sir. Javier, do you have? Okay.
Yes, I do, but I'm not next on the list.
Yeah, you are. I just made you last time because you were the point man.
Okay. In that case, it's like I completely agree with both Chad and Eloy when it comes to as far as what we can do for the community. Collaborations are fantastic. The stories that we all have, the documentaries, that's what I see as far as the community is kind of already happening, which is makers getting together through the wonderful miracle, if you want to call it miracle, through technology. We're at a point where Hangouts, we're on a Hangout every night, pretty much. Same people, different people, visiting people. And it's almost like being there. We've made this community much smaller, if you will, or much closer, which is where all this network came from. Just ideas upon ideas. I can't really add too much to. I know Steve wants me to say, well, I'd like to create a makerspace for kids and all that, but unfortunately, that's not me. But I'll put it out there for anybody that's listening. If that's them, that's a worthwhile endeavor, and that's what it's all about. Is basically sharing ideas with each other, and from a simple idea, from a simple collaboration, from a simple story, anything will grow out of it.
I think the further we go down this panel, the harder it is going to be to answer, because Chad started it off with the perfect example, and that's kind of the for lack of a better word, mission statement of what we're talking about here, the network of it. And the collabing does that. And but just to give everybody a chance, I'll jump over to Mark unless he's too busy doing the chat.
No, actually, those are all very good suggestions and very good answers, very good ideas. But I kind of come at it from a little bit different in that I'm all about recruitment and I'm all about growth. There is plenty of room. There's room for everybody. So I'm talking about teach a kid. I mean, we've been around live shows. We've been around demonstrations. We've been around maker fairs. We've been around craft fairs and such. And you know people, you know somebody right now who would love to learn something that you're doing. And the younger, the better. I mean, you know people who would love to learn how to scroll saw like you do, Charles, or even just draw how to make a pattern like that. We all know somebody who would love to get involved. So I say bring them along, get them involved, get them in the shop with you. Encourage somebody to start a YouTube channel. You can do this with a cell phone, folks. If I can do this, anybody can do it. Start a channel, post a video. You're not trying to win an Academy Award. Just show folks what you can do, because there's room for everybody, and this is truly a if you build it, they will come type of an experience.
Yeah, and 99% of this community is not competitive. We all love to share and teach. Some people are better at teaching than others, but everybody tries. And I don't know of anybody being stingy about what they know.
Exactly.
In this maker community. I mean, it just speaks for itself.
Exactly.
But I'm going to be fair and go down the line. Thank you for your answer, Mark. Mighty Mike, you have any? You're on the spot, baby.
Sorry, I was laughing at something that popped up on my screen. Yeah, well, I'm actually working on trying to make my shop, which is my garage, a area that I can offer, kids little projects. And I've been discussing it with my wife, and so probably next year, summertime, I'm going to try and put that into effect. It's not going to be big, but I'll start off small.
Okay, I got to interrupt. Okay, share it with the class. What the hell is everybody laughing about?
No.
Okay,
look at your messenger later.
Like on Facebook?
Yeah.
Oh my God. David Jones, are you with us? I see your logo. Alrighty, so I'll just I think we're going to finish up a little bit early, but I will answer the question. Again, I have to elaborate on what everybody else has said, but I think what intimidates some people is they might not think they're big enough in the YouTube community. That does not matter. If you make something and you're good at it, if you don't have a lot of subscribers, it doesn't mean you're not good. It means not enough people have seen you, and that's the benefit of networking. So if you have 50 subscribers and you know somebody with 1,000, 20,000, collab with them. Worst they can do is say no. Right this second, I can't think of a thing me and Chad could do together, but that doesn't mean we can't try it at some point. Sorry, Chad, if that's putting you on the spot. But
we'll come up with something.
Yeah, and a lot of people think it's about popularity. It's about clicks, who you know, this and that. It's really not for the folks that are mature about it, because I have yet to meet anybody that won't help if you ask. And I made a joke earlier about stupid questions, but you don't know until you either read up on it, talk to somebody, or what. So even if you do a collab just to learn, that the power of a collaboration, both for your YouTube channel, your own knowledge, the things you can teach other people, it makes you feel good to teach other people. At least it does me. I'm limited as to what I can teach, but there's a lot of stuff out there to learn. And don't worry about the numbers. Just worry about what your passions are, and anything you want to learn, don't be afraid to go talk to somebody, because I think it speaks for itself. And I heard somebody start to talk. Was that Mark?
Yeah, Charles, that's exactly what I meant when I said this is if you build it, they will come endeavor. In that everybody. I don't care if you're Bob Claggett, Jimmy DeResta, name a maker, name somebody that you subscribe to. They all started out with 0 subscribers. If you start posting content, people will find you if that content is good.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid.
People will find you.
Yeah, and even when it comes to YouTube, and I know most of the people on this panel can agree with it, don't be afraid to experiment with what works and what doesn't work. Sometimes you find out the hard way. I believe, not that this is a competition, but I believe Chad has the most subscribers, but I'm sure he had trial and error on the way there. Did you not, Chad, or is that a little too personal? I mean,
you know, I never started a YouTube channel with the intention of growing initially. So when I started having views and realized that, hey, this is something that I might actually be able to make some money doing, that's when I started working harder. And it wasn't really necessarily a competition from the sense that I was trying to beat somebody else. But where I am competitive is I look at my numbers and I want to see them grow. So if I got 500 subscribers last month, I'd like to get 600 this month. I don't want to be going from, you know, 500 down to 300 or 200. That's that aspect of the reality of YouTube. It's very possible that that could happen. I could go from a growth cycle down into a valley, and when that happens, it's, you know, it's a little disappointing. So I'm definitely competitive from the standpoint of myself.
Yeah,
I don't
definitely,
you know, I just want to see like all of my friends and other people that are doing the same thing I am, that have that common interest of having a YouTube channel. I want to see them grow as well. So amongst ourselves, I don't really feel competitive as much as I just want to see everybody grow, because I know how good it feels when you see growth on your channel. So
I agree,
you know, yeah, I want to see Eloy happy. I want to see Javi happy. I want to see Mark happy. Mike, I want David to put some videos up. I want everybody has this common interest in, you know, producing videos, making projects, to get that reward that comes with, you know, channel growth, subscribers watching your videos, that kind of thing.
The concept, the concept of, okay, just going from what you just said, just to add this, because it's one of the things that I totally hate in a personality. And I'll just say, when someone, you know, thinks that if somebody else is getting, you know, good views or whatever in life, it could be YouTube or whatever, that's less for them.
Yeah, it's not.
That attitude.
And let me clarify one thing, because Sterling brought up a very good point. If you're doing YouTube to make a living, get a life, get out of here, because
it's hard, it's rare.
No, it's not hard. It's impossible, and the only people that do this are the outliers. So put that out of your mind. Now, when you're talking growth, I mean, I'm sure Chad was saying not only monetarily, but growth as far as getting your knowledge out there, getting your word out there. Maybe you're going for popularity. Maybe you're going to be a bigger part of the community. There's numerous aspects of growth as far as YouTube or other things are concerned.
And I don't think, I think if I perceived what Chad was saying the most, he was saying he likes the growth in himself and challenging himself to outdo himself from before.
Exactly.
Fair.
What I wanted to point, like to emphasize is that the attitude where one has done good, and you're looking from the outside and you're thinking, well, he's taking all my that attitude is crap. And
yeah, so YouTube used to be a pretty small organization, and now it's huge. So that's because everybody has grown. The organization has grown, the number of viewers has grown, the number of views on YouTube has grown, the number of channels on YouTube. So everything is growing, and there's exponential growth in every direction. Not just it's not just one channel growing; it's thousands and millions of channels growing. And just because Eloy has added, say, 500 subscribers in a month, doesn't mean I can't also. There's not a limited number of viewers. There's a ever-growing number of viewers.
And that's exactly what I mean when I say, if you build it, they will come. It takes that one video to be a breakout. And for Peter Brown, it was the
colored pencil ring. Yep.
And I'll go right back
crazy from there. But you misunderstand. I'm not talking about doing YouTube for a living. What I'm talking about is thinking of it as sharing your work, sharing your knowledge, and you have that video portfolio that you can point anybody to and say, this is what I can do. What can I do for you?
Yes,
it is. It's like a living history in a sense of your work.
And there's room for everybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what you were saying, as far as if you build it, it will come. The famous adage, if you build a better mousetrap, people beat a path to your door. Yes, but you have to put a disclaimer on it, because if no one knows you built a better mousetrap, no one's going to beat a path to your door. And therein lies why we have our communities, why we have our networks, including this one that we've formed. It's to spread the word out. So I have 400 something subscribers, which is a very tiny YouTube channel in these days. Well, we're a group of 75,000 between us. That's a considerable bigger bit of social capital than just the single person. And that's what it's all about. And that way we all get noticed.
Well, Eloy, God bless him, he kept getting interrupted every time he went to say it. So I think the path he was on was saying, yes, there's more than one person that does the similar type videos, but everybody does it their own way. Is that kind of what you were saying, Eloy? You know, don't be intimidated because somebody else did a project like what you're thinking.
Well, actually, it includes that. I think, like, it includes. Okay, we can use that as an example, but I was pretty much, the point was that, you know, don't be, as a human being, so crappy. But
okay, but don't be crappy.
but what you're saying, even if somebody else does something, right, like right there and then, it's been done before. Nothing, unless they invent, I don't know, a teleportation system that takes you to Disney World every 5 minutes. I don't know. It's all been done. So, like, kick back and do what you got to do and do it. You know?
Yeah. Exactly. And I can say that because I don't consider myself big on YouTube, but if somebody else has done something, it doesn't mean you can't do it, because everybody has their own way. Everybody has their own audience for the most part. I mean, when it comes to these shows, the audience sort of drift between them, but even then, people are sprinkling in, and some shows are getting bigger. So some are, you know, the word gets around. I mean, so, like, if you see somebody that made a table, man, I wanted to do that. Make your own, you know, add your own personality, add your own editing, add your own music. Go to Eloy for the music if you can't add your own music. Plug. But see, we're not a clique. We're not the only people on YouTube. We're not the only people willing to help other people. So that's the idea behind Makers Media Network. So that is why y'all should get involved with each other, with us, with everybody. No, I didn't. Mike,
absolutely. No, you're absolutely right. It just everybody, and the beautiful thing about another beautiful thing about this community is, for instance, you know, we joke around a lot. Oh, Team Scroll Saw, Team Lathe, Team CNC. By the way, Team CNC. And in Team CNC, we got Team Blue and Team Orange, at least with the Gatton world. So I mean, there's teams, there's sides, but in the end, everybody's one big. Like my sound effects there. Yeah. Everybody's just one big, huge community. Well, exactly. One big, huge working community. We don't care about the rest of the people outside. Well, maker community.
Absolutely. Now, and I'm going to stress this again. We are not better than y'all. We're just the Makers Media Network, and you can be too. But in the meantime, scroll.